There is a war almost no one takes seriously when they first hear about it. Not because it is fictional, but because it sounds impossible. A war where the enemy does not strategize, does not negotiate, does not even understand what war is. And yet, humanity lost. Not against a nation, not against an empire, but against birds. The year is 1932. The world is still carrying the weight of global economic collapse. In a distant place called Western Australia, farmers are trying to rebuild their lives. They are isolated, forgotten, struggling against land that refuses to be tamed. And then, something begins to happen. Something small at first, too small to be taken seriously. Tens of thousands of large, flightless birds begin to appear. Emus. They move across farmland in groups, silent, fast, unstoppable. They do not attack humans. They do not need to. They simply exist and destroy everything in their path. Crops vanish overnight. Fences break. Hope begins to disappear with them. For the farmers, this is not nature. This is collapse. Every seed planted becomes food for something else. Every harvest becomes a memory. They begin to report losses to the government. But, at first, no one listens. Because how do you fight a war against birds? Eventually, the situation escalates. The farmers are desperate. Their economy is collapsing with them. So they ask for help. And surprisingly, help arrives. Not in the form of relief funds. Not in policy. But in soldiers and machine guns. Military units are deployed. They arrive expecting something manageable. But what they find is not an enemy army. It is movement. Thousands of emus spreading across the land like living wind. Fast, unpredictable, unstoppable in open terrain. The soldiers prepare anyway. Because orders are orders. The first attempt is confident. A position is set. A trap is prepared. A machine gun is ready. And then the emus arrive. What happens next is not battle. It is chaos. The birds scatter instantly, breaking formation. The gun cannot track them. Shots miss. Dust rises. And within minutes, they are gone again. The soldiers realize something unsettling. These are not slow-moving targets. They do not charge in predictable lines. They do not hold formation. They split. They regroup. They adapt by instinct. The machine gun becomes useless. The battlefield becomes empty again. But the war is not over. A new strategy is formed. Stronger weapons, better positioning, more ammunition. This time, success is expected. The emus return. And again, everything collapses. The gun jams. The birds scatter. The terrain itself works against the soldiers. When it ends, the result is the same. No victory. There is something deeply unsettling now. Because nothing about the emus suggests intelligence. And yet, they behave like they understand survival better than trained soldiers. They do not fight. They simply refuse to be destroyed. And in doing so, they win. The military begins to document the situation. What they expected to be a controlled operation has turned into embarrassment. Reports mention wasted ammunition, failed engagements, no meaningful reduction in numbers. The language begins to shift, from operation to something closer to resignation. News spreads, and the world reacts. With disbelief, a modern military, armed with machine guns, struggling against birds. It sounds like satire, but it is not. And slowly, the story becomes something no one wants to fully acknowledge. Eventually, the military is pulled back, not because the enemy is defeated, but because the cost is too high. The emus remain. The farmers remain. But the war officially ends. Without a winner, life continues. Reports fade into history books. But, on the land itself, nothing feels resolved. The emus still exist, still move across the fields, still reshape the environment in quiet ways. And the farmers adapt again, not by winning, but by surviving. Over time, the story becomes legend. A war against birds. A military failure so strange it sounds unreal. People laugh when they hear it. But beneath the humor, there is something uncomfortable. Because it happened, the story is not just about birds. It is about assumptions, about control, about what happens when nature does not behave like an enemy that can be understood. The emus did not defeat an army. They simply did not follow its rules. There are no heroes in this story. No dramatic victory. No final battle. Only exhaustion. And a realization that power does not always scale the way humans expect. Sometimes, force is not enough. Sometimes, the world does not care about hierarchy. And so the war ends where it began. In silence, no celebration, no resolution, just land, birds, and memory. A war that should not have been possible, yet somehow was real, and somehow was lost.